Mr. Davis, tell me the story. What happened here?
Well, the year before last, uh, Mr. Ray White sold the Muslims this farm, and of course, he paid them for it. Paid them $115,000 for this farm, and they bought a farm over at Pearl City on Wolf Creek Road. Paid $88,500 for it, 531 acres, and then just joining this farm, we bought another 160 acres and paid $57,000 for it. And over in Calhoun County, we got 556 acres over there, and we paid $98,500 for it.
What's been the story on these cattle?
Well, the man that sold us this farm, Mr. White, had 200 or more head of cattle, and of course we bought them. And finally, the people organized, the church over here, Pine Forest Missionary Church, organized to run us out and take the land from us. And they were not successful in the courts. They got a ruling reversing some of their action in the court, throwing out some of the cases. Of course, they arrested me and arrested several of us, and I have a $250,000 suit hanging over my head now for even coming on this property. And of course, when they failed, then they came out and shot some of the cattle. Later on, then they poisoned them, and they just continue to harass us and trying to keep us, force us out of here.
Now, that was last spring. What happened now?
Well,
why did you decide to try again?
Well, people, as they grow older and as the time moves on, they become educated to certain facts and get used to certain conditions and everything. And we thought that they had got used to seeing black faces out here and black faces owning this property, and that they had settled down to live in the community with us. We got to live together. We have nowhere else to go. We own the land. We paid for it. So I don't see no reason why they should try to force us out or take the land from us.
All right, what has happened with the cattle now?
Well, they poisoned about half of the herd about a month and a half ago. I bought 84 head of cattle, cows and calves. And just this weekend, they decided they would poison them, and of course they poisoned them. We're losing half of the herd here, one way or the other. Most of them poisoned to death.
When you see these cattle die, what do you think of the people who did that?
Well, it goes back in my mind to a story that my father often tell about the savages. They fought over food. Now, these people here is worse than savages because they're destroying food. And they say a savage would come in and he might kill the enemy, but he would say that the enemy's food and eat it for himself. So they're killing the food out here that we can't eat it, neither can they eat it. I just figure it's a backward community, a backward people, and they need educating, some type of orientation, rehabilitation program, educational-wise, by the federal government or by the state. Some way ought to come in here and try to help these people to understand that we all are humans, and we are poor, we are black, and we're trying to pull up ourselves by our own bootstraps. Mr. Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, has done more to help the black man do something for himself than any black man I feel in the world. And he has done a good job. And this is one of the steps forward to help eliminate what we call crime, poverty, and other injustices among the black people.
How many cattle do you think you've lost?
Oh, so far we've lost about 104 head. We've lost around $35,000 worth of cattle since we've been here. Now, up this action here, we lost about 40 head.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel sorry for a person that would do a thing like this. I just actually feel sorry for him.
Is it going to work? Are they going to convince you to move on?
Oh, we're going to own our land. We're going to keep our land. We're going to pay our taxes on our land. We're going to meet the requirements of the law. We're going to stay here and do our best. We're going to move the cattle away, of course. Bury the dead cattle. And the cattle that's alive and might survive, we're going to take them to a clean pasture, to what we call a community of sanity, white and black people, where we can live and take care of our cattle. Now, we have other places in the state where the whites are friendly, and they receive us with outstretched arms. And anything that they can do to help us and strengthen us in our operation, they do it. But here, just the reverse. Now, of course, I'm not implicating that all the people here are that type. There are some fine people, even in this valley. And I'll talk to several of the young people here who just don't condone this at all. It's the old diehards, people who never had anything, never been anywhere, never seen anything, never heard whether that be a God or not. They only just serve, let's say, what they call traditions and customs, you know. And it's just a custom for them to go to church, and it's a custom for them to get happy and shout, and they don't know what they're shouting about. It's just a custom for them to be preached to, and they don't know what they're preaching to and preaching about. So it's just they're just slaves to customs and traditions and ignorance and backwardness. And this is a pitiful condition in a valley like this, a beautiful valley. And I feel that the minister of this community ought to be the first person to take a forward step to educate and to spiritualize his people to the point where they would accept people who come in here to try to tend to their business and operate the business.
Some law enforcement people here have said that they think it's an inside job. What's your answer there?
Yes, the sheriff told me that he had been told, and by the FBI and several people in this community, that I poisoned the cattle, and that some of the Muslims came in here and poisoned the cattle. The sorriest Muslim on earth wouldn't do a thing like this. Nobody gonna set their own house afire, and they don't even believe that themselves. That's just a front to, let's say, make their conscience feel satisfied with injustice. The sheriff don't even believe that himself. He know, maybe as well as I do, that these people here who have advocated the overthrow of and downfall of this farm and the forcing of us out are the people who've done it. And give me just enough time, I will put my hands on and give him the names of the people who put the poison out here, just like I did the people who poisoned them last year, who burned our buildings last year. I told the sheriff, gave the names of the people. He hadn't done one thing. He doesn't plan to do anything. He is too politically inspired to perpetuate himself to do justice to black people. Yes,
all right, will you talk to me now? We're not recording. I'm just listening to you, and I need
yes,
this shot. Just keep on talking.
Well, many things have happened out here, and we plan to just move the cattle away and keep our land.
I need you to talk to me just another minute or two for
Yes,
a long
sir.
shot.
Well, I can understand where these people have been taught. Young men been in the army, been around, and they come back here and they try to talk to the father, and the father said, and some of the young men have left here. And they said they're not coming back here anymore. I talked to several of them. And these young white boys here, the one that came to me and told me that their buddies that was doing the damage out here.
Mm-hmm.
And that the preacher over here and the organization they call RED were the ones finding.
So the poisoning has been partially successful, at least. There will be no more Muslim cows roaming this acreage. Instead, the Muslims will keep the land and plant it to crops and wait for the day when such a thing just couldn't happen in St. Clair County or any place else. David Snell, ABC News, near Asheville, Alabama. Okay, let's do it one more time. So the poisoning was partially successful, at least. There will be no more Muslim cows roaming this acreage. Instead, it will be planted to crops, and the Muslims will stay here, waiting for the day when St. Clair County, Alabama, just couldn't have something like this happen. David Snell, ABC News, near Asheville, Alabama. Okay, I didn't. So the poisoning has been partially successful, at least. There will be no more Muslim cows roaming this acreage. Instead, the Muslims will stay and plant it to crops and wait for the day when such a thing just couldn't happen. David Snell, ABC News. What's that? Go. So the poisoning was partially successful, at least. There'll be no more Muslim cows roaming this acreage. Instead, it will be planted to crops, and the Muslims will stay here to wait for the day when such a thing just couldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.